a math thing, yeah. So it was a small audience. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Sorry, it'll be recorded as well.
Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome to this afternoon's event, Math and Stats 101 Workshop. We are streaming on YouTube live from Concordia University's fourth space, which is located on unceded Indigenous lands here in Tiohtià:ke, Montreal. For those of you new to fourth space, either in person or over Zoom, welcome in. At fourth space, we collaborate with our university community to activate the many research projects and initiatives that are in development across the university by co-creating engaging activities. So it's our great pleasure to help support this project initiated by our math and stats colleagues. And I'll let Christopher tell you more about it in just a minute. Don't want to steal the thunder there. But before doing so, I'm just letting you know, if you're in the space with us and you have questions or comments, we'll get one of these handheld microphones to you so that we can hear you over Zoom and in the stream. And if you're in the Zoom, well, welcome in. You're more than welcome to jump in and ask Christopher questions directly by just raising a hand, a virtual hand, and jumping in either with video or both video and audio, or the chat. Okay, folks, it's now my pleasure to pass it over to your facilitator, Christopher Plenzik. Over to you.
Hi, thank you for the nice introduction. I'm just going to share my screen right now and get it started. All right, seems to be working. Just a moment. All right, so yeah, as you said earlier, my name is Christopher Plenzik. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm the project coordinator in the Mathematics and Statistics department here at Concordia, and I'm the creator of this Math and Stats 101 video competition. So if you're here, I'm guessing it's either because you're in a Math and Stats program, or you're interested in competition, or you just want a quick tutorial on how to create a video. Either way, I want to thank you for coming, and I hope that it's an enjoyable experience for you. So I just want to give you a quick rundown of what we'll be doing today. So I'll be going over the rules and the prizes and the judging criteria of this competition. And then I'll go into the steps of how to effectively create a 1 minute and 1 second video using everyday colloquial language. I'll also be giving a live demonstration on how to use the software that I provide to you and how to use it to create a video, essentially. There'll be a whole bunch of resources for free audio, free visuals, free graphics, so whatever you need to create this video and succeed in this competition. It will all be made available afterwards as well, and I hope that what you'll get out of this today will also be useful in your everyday life and other endeavors as well. So let's get started. All right, so what exactly is this competition about? So the competition encourages undergraduate and graduate students enrolled in a mathematics and statistics program, including a minor degree, at Concordia University to create a 1 minute and 1 second long video describing or explaining a mathematical or statistical concept using language aimed for a general audience. I'm sure if you're in the math and stats department, you've seen some of these posters plastered everywhere around the walls. I apologize for that. So the competition goal is twofold. So it's for mathematic outreach and also to supply the undergraduate and graduate students with new tools for communication that can be useful for their future careers. So graduate students are encouraged to actually create videos related to their research that will be useful in other workshops and whatnot. So we're also really trying to spread the word of the stuff that we learn in the math and stats department and how it is applicable to our everyday lives. So the competition is already opened. It closes on November 7th. So you can see the complete list and rules on the website, or if you scan this QR code here on one of the posters, you'll be able to see all the information there. And that's where I'll also be posting the resources and everything you could use for the video competition. All right, so basic rules for the competition. So it's open to all Concordia graduate and undergraduate students enrolled in a math and stats program. Minors count as well. Hopefully, we'll be opening this to all other departments as well in the future if this is successful, which I really hope it will be. You're only allowed 1 entry per person, and the videos must be a maximum of 1 second and 1 minute and 1 second long. So the name of the competition is Math and Stats 101, and it's kind of a pun. 101 meaning introductory, so you're supposed to be using general language, and 101 meaning that it's only meant to be 1 minute and 1 second long. Videos can be in either French or English. They must be original and demonstrate a concept related to math or stats. And the language in the videos should be targeted towards a general audience, so please avoid using like dense jargon and very specific language. And all submissions must be sent using the prepared Microsoft form. As I mentioned, that form and all the other information is on the website, and I'll be giving a link to that later as well. So this is an example of the form. It has all the information there. And once it scrolls down, you'll see just the general information you have to include, such as your name, your student ID number, and all those usual type things. So we're also asking you to create a title for your video and have a brief description of only about 100 words long. And there's a couple ways that you can actually upload the video. So if you upload it to a cloud platform, you could provide me with a link in this form. So if you do use Google Drive or OneDrive or whatnot, if you do not want to use one of those, that's fine, because once you submit the form, you'll be getting an email stating where you could reply to and attach the video there, and it sends it directly to me. So there's a few ways to enter in, whichever you choose, it's all good. So there's also like the privacy and intellectual property type stuff. So it's a little bit dry and boring, but it's important to note the whole video that we're creating, it has to be original, it has to be your own, and all the graphics and all the audio that you're using in this video cannot be copyrighted, and they must be free to use. So if you use the resources that I provide you, you will be totally fine and in the clear for that. So again, all this is on the website as well. All right, so now to the more interesting stuff, the prizes. So we secured a few prizes here. So there's 2 top prizes, one for undergraduate and one for graduate, each of $500. There'll be 4 honorable mention prizes of $100 each, and then 2 raffle prizes of $50. So just by entering the contest, you have a chance of winning something. So I really urge you to enter. So the judging panel will have a minimum of 3 judges. At least one of them will be out of the math and stats department. So we're really trying to get other people, you really have to use language that's geared towards a general audience, because you will be judged on that from somebody outside of the math and stats department. So we don't have the judges yet, but they'll be announced at a later date. So there are a few things that you'll be judged on. The first is the explanation of the concept that you're using. That's going to be worth 60% of your grade. So is the concept relevant? Is the language used suitable for a general audience? And is the explanation clear and concise? Then we'll be judging you 30% based on creativity. So that's the originality of the video. Is the concept explained in an interesting way? And then finally, the overall quality, which is 10%. And is that the video, does it look aesthetically pleasing? Is the quality of the video adequate? And are the visuals you use relevant to the explanation of your concept? So you do have complete control over how you want to create your video. So there's a whole bunch of ways that you could do it. I'll be showing you 3 examples that I think are effective in this. And then I'll be giving a live demonstration on how to edit one of these videos. And then I'll be showing the video at the end of it as well. So the first one you could do is something similar to a popular YouTube channel called Minutephysics. Obviously, this is not math related, but what they do is they often have drawings, and then there's a voiceover on top of the drawing. And that seems to be a very effective way to get something across that's aesthetically pleasing and also aimed towards a general audience. So I'll be playing that for you right now. I'm not sure if the audio is working on this. Oh, let me try again then, share sound.
And asteroids in our solar system with incredible precision. However, Newton's law of
All right, there you go.
It's well known that gravity pulls two objects together with a force proportional to the mass of one times the mass of the other, divided by the square of the distance between them. This equation is called Newton's law of universal gravitation. It's taught to school children the world over, and it predicts the motions of the planets and moons and asteroids in our solar system with incredible precision. However, Newton's law of universal gravitation isn't actually a universal law. First, we know that when the gravitational force in question is really strong, Newton's law is just wrong. And second, we know that when the gravitational force in question is really weak, we don't know whether it's right or wrong because gravity gets too weak to measure. Only in between, like on the scale of the solar system, do we know that the law of gravitation reasonably applies. Okay, but if Newton's law of gravitation has been confirmed so accurately by the motions of planets and moons, how could it be wrong at a different scale?
So that short snippet that you just saw from the Minutephysics video essentially effectively shows how it can be very useful to just have a drawing and then voiceover over that. So that's one idea that you could do, which I think is quite useful. Another one is actually a video that I created for a similar competition for NSERC. It's time-lapse video with a voiceover. So again, I'm not even on camera. It's just some decent looking footage, some cool, interesting footage with my explanation on top of that. So I'll play that for you now.
The forest tent caterpillar, one of the most important defoliators of trees in North America. In 2001 alone, they were responsible for over 14 million hectares of damaged forests. Forest tent caterpillars emerge as moths with non-functional mouths. This means that as caterpillars, they are constantly eating in order to sustain their journey from caterpillar to cocoon to moth. These caterpillars remain in large groups by following pheromone trails in order to defend against predators, a sort of safety in numbers approach. At Concordia University, we found that this pheromone trail loyalty breaks when the caterpillars are feeding from an unfavorable food source. The caterpillars put themselves in harm's way to possibly reach a better quality food. Forest managers can use this research to predict, mitigate, and better manage future forest tent caterpillar outbreaks. By extrapolating these simple findings to other animals, we now have a better understanding of the dynamics of group living species.
So again, that was based off of my entire research in my master's degree. So that's 3 years of research that I managed to fit in 1 minute just by talking over some footage of the caterpillars that I had. So again, that's just another effective method of creating a video that's engaging. I believe that was engaging. And then lastly is a method of creating a video where you're just literally talking to the camera. So another popular YouTube channel called Vsauce is very good at this, where they just talk to the camera very casually and have some visuals on top of that to better demonstrate the concept. So I'll play that last one.
Hey Vsauce, Michael here. There's a famous way to seemingly create chocolate out of nothing. Maybe you've seen it before. This chocolate bar is 4 squares by 8 squares. But if you cut it like this, and then like this, and finally like this, you can rearrange the pieces like so and wind up with the same 4 by 8 bar, but with a leftover piece apparently created out of thin air. There's a popular animation of this illusion as well. I call it an illusion because it's just that, fake. In reality, the final bar is a bit smaller. It contains this much less chocolate. Each square along the cut is shorter than it was in the original, but the cut makes it difficult to notice right away. The animation is extra misleading because it tries to cover up its deception. The lost height of each square is surreptitiously added in, while the piece moves to make it hard to notice. I mean, come on. Obviously, you cannot cut up a chocolate bar and rearrange the pieces into more than you started with. Or can you?
So that's a very simple method of creating a video as well that I believe is quite engaging. Obviously, they use some animation in there, but that's not something that we're expecting for this competition. But again, it's just very simple. It was talking to the camera really casually, and he got his point across. So in a bit, I'll be showing how you could create a video similar to this using some free software and digital assets to make your own. Yeah, so these are only 3 types of the videos that you can create. There's obviously loads of other ways, and I really urge you to get creative with it. So now we're getting into how to create this video. The first step that you'll need to do is pick your mathematical or statistical concept. So you want to make sure that you're able to relay this concept within 1 minute and 1 second. So it could be related to your research if you'd like I mentioned, if you're a graduate student. But it's really important that you are familiar with this concept because you will have to create it in a way that is engaging to a general audience. So the second step in this process is to write your script. So there's a good rule of thumb, and that a script of about 140 words or so, spoken at a medium pace, will produce a video that is about 1 minute long. So that's what we're creating. The script that I had created was 150 words, so it depends on your speaking pace as well. But yeah, so around 140, 150 words is a good place to start. So when you're creating your script, there's a few things that you need to note. The first is to focus on key concepts and limit what you say. So don't go too much into detail that you don't need. Really stick to the main idea. The second is to use plain language that a general audience would understand. That's the whole purpose of this competition. And the last is to think of a catchy title. So that's actually the first thing the audience will see. We'll be posting all of these videos on YouTube, and then will be posted on the website as well, the Math and Stats Department website. So having a catchy title is always a good way to engage your audience. So now I'll show you a couple ways how converting your concepts to be understandable by a general audience. So I'm assuming if you're here watching this, you're already in a math and stats program, so you already understand the jargon. So I won't actually be using a mathematical sentence that will be translating for a more general audience, since you'd already understand it if it was in math speak. So I actually created some examples that are related to biology, since I am a biologist by graduate. So hopefully there'll be some words in the more complicated sentences that you want to understand, and then you'll see how you can effectively create that for a general audience and translate it. So the first sentence, many gregarious animals, including primates, ungulates, bats, dolphins, and fish, exhibit fission-fusion dynamics with varying group sizes in different environments. So it's quite full of jargon, behavioral biology jargon, but the root of this message is simply this: many animals like primates, bats, dolphins, cows, and even fish live in groups. The reasons for staying in a big group or splitting up can change depending on their environment. So you see how it's effectively saying the same thing, just using completely different language. We're not trying to get you to dumb it down necessarily. We want you to still keep it academic, but just use language that a general audience would understand. So there's another example that might be a little bit more complex. So the Apis mellifera transfers entomophene particles from Helianthus anus to its habitat. So I don't even know what some of these words mean, but what essentially is saying is the honeybee carries pollen from the sunflower to the beehive. So it really shows how you're not really dumbing it down, you're just using language that everybody would understand. So once you write your script, the third part is to storyboard your idea. So which video concept works best with your script? Would it be a voiceover, a drawing, or talking directly into the camera? So it's not completely necessary to storyboard with a program, but I did find a program that I've used before called Storyboarder that's quite efficient. It's very simple to use, and it's kind of fun as well. So it's very useful. You can also do it really old school and use a pen and paper. So this is one of the free resources that I found. It's called Storyboarder. It's completely free. There's no paywall or anything for this. And as I mentioned, it's not completely necessary to go through this, but I think it's a good idea. So I will share my screen and I'll show you how to use the program and how easy it is. So let's get out of this. Oops. Did not mean to record. All right, so as I mentioned, Storyboarder right here. So once you download the program, and again, I'll have the website online for you for this, all you have to do is create a new storyboard. I suggest creating a blank storyboard because selecting a script requires you to use a different program to create the script that will be allowed to be used in here, but it's really easy if you already have your script in a Word document, as I do over here. So this is my 150-word script, and I have my storyboard, so now I'm ready to go. So create a blank. I like using an HD. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really change much. So I'll just save it to my desktop and I'll name it Test Storyboard, just for the sake of this demonstration. So this is the interface you'll have. As you could see at the top, you'll have a selection of different drawing tools and pens and an eraser, and you'll have different frames at the bottom. You could create more as you want. So these are your scenes at the bottom. So what I like to do is, in my Word document, I like separating the script into different scenes. So each paragraph in here represents a different scene or a different action that will be needed. So just to give you a bit of background as to what this script is about. So I got my brother, who's a drag queen, to record this for me. So the idea is that he'll be talking about how music and math are related, and relating it to how he performs as a drag queen and thinking about music. So that's why you see why I was practicing my lip sync over here. So you just basically copy the text that you want to input, or you could write it directly into the program here. So over here on your sidebar, you could see if you scroll down, there's a couple of other dialog boxes. So that output for dialogue, I'll paste it in there. So that's part of the script that's included. And now in action. So the dialogue here is, I was just practicing for my lip sync and got to thinking about the music I'll be performing to. So in the video, I wanted my brother to be getting ready for his performance, so putting on makeup. So action here would be putting on makeup. And then if you like, you can even draw. It's good, you could draw it on your tablet, on your phone as well. So it's cross-platform usable. I'm not very good at drawing without my tablet right now, but I'll just draw my brother, a little stick person, putting on makeup. All right, that's what that's supposed to be. Apologize for the horrible drawing. And then my next scene over here, if I go back to my script, so he says, we tend to think of math and music as being worlds apart, but did you know that Pythagoras, the guy with the right triangles, considers music to be a branch of math? So I'll copy that, and then I'll paste it into the dialog box, and then the action. So for this, I want him to be looking directly into the camera, and I want to add a visual on top of that where there'll be mathematic formulas floating in front of his face. So I'll put math formulas in front of face. And then I'll give it a little drawing. So again, my brother, the wonderful drag queen over here, and then some math formulas. Again, it's not necessary to draw. I just like it because it's a little bit more fun. E equals mc squared, whatever you'd like. And then you'd go on for the rest of your script this way. Now, when you want to see the entire thing all together once you're finished, all you have to do is File, Print or Export to PDF. And then over here, you could change the number of columns and rows you want. The spacing is the spacing in between each frame you have here, and then export to PDF. I'll save it, and then I can open it, and I can print it, or I could look at it and use it for whatever I need to. So it's a really good way to organize yourself before you even start before you start creating your video. All right, so now I will go back to the presentation. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here. There we go. All right, so I mentioned that's the Storyboarder. So now that we have this step done, we're ready to go to the next step. So next is to record your video. So recording with your phone is completely fine. Nowadays, obviously, our phone cameras are quite good quality. So that's completely fine if you want to use it. Just make sure to please record it in landscape mode for this competition. Since we will be posting it on YouTube, it just looks nicer in landscape mode. If you do prefer to do it in a portrait mode, that's totally fine as well. It just depends on how you want to do it, but for this, it might work better in landscape mode. So actually, if you go, there's a Concordia website, a Concordia info page that has a whole bunch of information on how to efficiently create a video with your phone. It's made for social media, but it works for this as well. So it talks about lighting, So that's, you really have to think about the lighting if you're going to be talking directly into the camera, or even if you decide to create a video where you're drawing, you have to think about the lighting and how your hand will cast a shadow. So like, for example, that's something really important to think about. And they also they also have some additional resources for you there. And again, I'll be posting this on the website, and you'll have all of this information and all of these links as well. So once you're done recording your video, next you'll be downloading your assets. So these are all your digital assets that you'll be needing. So now you have your video recorded, you put it on your laptop, and you're ready to edit your video. But now you have to think about everything else you need. So the audio, any graphics, any stock footage that you'll need as well. So it's really important to make sure that the assets are royalty and copyright free. And all the assets that I'll show you now are royalty and copyright free, and they require no attribution either. So it's really good list of resources, I think, that will help you create these videos. So there's obviously loads that you could find online, but these 4 that I'll mention now were really helpful. So what I actually did was I got my brother to record the video, then I showed him these websites and I showed him how to use the video editing program, and I asked him to edit the video himself. So at the end, you'll see the video that he created, and it came out actually quite decent. So it goes to show you how easy these things are to use. So the first that some people actually don't know about is that YouTube offers a bunch of free audio in their studio. You could download it and it's free to use on YouTube. And as I mentioned, all of these videos will be posted on YouTube. So it's completely legal and completely free, copyright free, very easy to use. Another one I like using is called Mixkit. So Mixkit has a bunch of free video, free audio, free music, free sound effects as well. They also do have some paid ones, but they're usually at the top of the list and they're clearly marked, so you can't, you won't mistake them for anything. The next one I like to use for free graphics is Unsplash. So this has free, like I mentioned, free graphics, completely royalty free for you to use. And the next that I've been using quite often is Dali 2. So this is actually an AI software. It's free to use. It's open for anybody to use. So if you can't find your a graphic that you're looking for, you can actually input a string text, and this AI program will create it for you. So I'll show you how to use that. I'll show you how to go through all of these and use them as well. So I will just get out of this. All right, so as I mentioned here, the first one is the YouTube Studio. So if you log into YouTube or create an account using your Gmail account, all you have to do is click on your account over here and then go down to YouTube Studio, and that will redirect you to the YouTube Studio. And if you scroll down, you'll see Audio Library. So this has tons of free audio for you to use. As you can see, this is 1 to 30 out of 1,216 music files for you to use. So a lot of them are good for background music if that's what you need. You could listen to the audio track. Don't know if this one will be useful for you. But if it is, you can also add a star and like it so that everything gets saved for you over here. So you can come back to it later. And you could download it over here. And it just downloads into your downloaded file, and then you could use it afterwards. So this is great for music and sound effects as well. It has a bunch of them for you to use. If you can't find something that you like on this one, there's another one called Mixkit for you. So this one has a mix of video, music, sound effects. It has templates and icons, but I don't really think you would need them for this competition, but feel free to browse through them if you'd like. So for videos, like let's say you need like a cat video or something. So it has a whole bunch of free videos here. As I mentioned, they're all copyright free, all for you to use, which is great. It has music as well. So if you're looking for a particular type of music, let's say ambient. So you see all the gray ones here, that's all free. And the Evanto elements are the ones that are paid for. But as I mentioned, they're clearly marked differently. So you could download what you need. You just have to click the little download button and it saves it for you. Very easy. And again, it also has the same with sound effects. So let's say I need like a glitching sound effect, which my brother did use. And then you just play. Sounds like something I'd like to use, and then you just have to download it from there. So very simple, very effective. The next is called Unsplash. So as I mentioned, this one is for graphics. So all these pictures here, all these stock images are free to use. There's nothing on the website that's paid. And most of them don't require attribution. They don't require anything. So it's really easy to navigate through. You just have to put your prompt over here. So let's say I'm looking for mathematics and see what comes with. I actually did use this picture for my presentation. And as you can see, it's free to use under the Unsplash license. If you want, you could read about it, and it's like super easy to use. And the last one, which I think is the most interesting, is called Dali. So you sign up for Dali. It is a paid service as well, but you get some free credits that you could create your own images. So like, let's say I couldn't find any image that I wanted to create, I wanted to use. I could write something and it will generate an image based on my prompt. So let's say I want a chalkboard with mathematic formula in a classroom. So you press enter, and then the computer is actually, this program is actually generating images for you. And in less than a minute, you'll get something. So there you go. I don't think that any of these mathematical formulas are useful, maybe, but it's good to use if you can't find anything. And it's actually quite fun to play with as well. So as I mentioned, all of these softwares and all these programs and all of these assets can be used outside of this competition. So I hope you do use them. And then finally, I'm just going to go back to my presentation here. Sorry, I had to go back and forth. There we go. All right. So then, finally, when you're done collecting all your assets, I suggest that you name them all properly and something that will be easy to find in a folder anywhere that's easy for you to find. I like putting it on my desktop at first and then changing it later. And then you could edit your video. So I found a free editing software called Openshot. There are obviously other ones that you could use, like DaVinci Resolve, but that has a paid platform as well. But Openshot is quite powerful. It's very easy to use. As I mentioned, my brother, who did not have any experience editing a video, was able to make a video after I showed him a quick 10-minute demonstration on how to put in all the assets that he found. So now I will go to that. All right, I'm going to close all this now. And Openshot, video editor. So as you can see, this is like the general outline of the general platform. Sorry, there we go. So you could move like your little boxes around and change it how you'd like. All right, now I'm going to include all my assets. So I just have to press the plus over here in the corner, find where I put all my assets. So right here, math and stat assets. I'll select everything and then click open. I opened a Word document that by accident. You don't need to use that. So then if you go to project files, all my assets are right over here. And all you literally have to do is drag and drop anything that you need. So one thing that I do suggest for this competition is creating just a blank image. So just a black image or whatever you'd like, and putting it all the way at the bottom of your layers, so your first track. So since this competition is meant to be only 1 minute and 1 second long, you can actually change how long this is. So I'm going to change it so that it's exactly 1 minute and 1 second. So now I know that anything I edit has to fall within this range. So it's just an easy way to keep gauge of how long your video is. So next, I will put the video that my brother took. So there's going to be bloopers and outtakes in this because he took it all in one shot. He said the script in one shot and made quite a few mistakes. But you could sample the video. So if you play it, you see it play.
Go through, starting a new video, and whoo! This is take 75. I've been at this for 62 years.
So that part is something I would not like to include, right? So I find the part, I go to the section of the video that I want to cut out, and then I right mouse click on it and go to slice. Now I want to keep everything that's to the right of this video, and I want to delete everything that's to the left. So I just go to slice, keep right side, and it deletes everything. And then I could put it back and continue editing that way. So that way you could go
I'm going to be
select bits of the video that you want. Or if you have multiple videos, you could put them together and then edit it that way as well. So like, let's say I want to, I'm not going to cut it for you now because we don't have too much time. But like, let's say I want to put it over here. I could cut the video. If I want to keep both sides, you could keep both sides as well. You can erase one side or the other. Then we also have some transitions. So if I want one video to fade into the other, you literally just have to drag and drop it. So if I put it on top of the two videos, that means it will fade from one video to the other, and it fades from black and white. There's a whole bunch of other transitions that you could play around with over here. There's also some effects that you can use on the videos that are very useful. So if your video is not bright enough, or if you need more contrast, all you have to do is click on effect that you'd like, drag it down, and then you'll see over here, this little icon, that's the effect that you just added. If you click on it, you have all the parameters here that you could change, and it edits the video and live on the other side, and you could see it editing for you over there. You can also put multiple of these effects on one video if you'd like, so that's very useful. And they also have some other effects where it will change the audio. So if I put robotization, it will change it and make it sound like he's speaking like a robot. It could be useful if you have something very creative or something a little bit silly. So for example, this is what it sounds like.
You know, while I'm getting ready, I'm practicing for my show. I'm going to be...
And then you have some parameters as well, so you can edit it how you like. They also have some emojis. So those are just icons that you can add on top. So on top of all those other assets that I showed you, this also has some pre-built assets that might be useful, depending if you want to use it or not. Yeah, so remember that all your project files are already here. Also, this program allows you to do something called Chroma Key, which is essentially a green screen. So if you film something on a colored background that's different than the color of your clothing or whatever, if you want to be on camera, you could remove the background quite easily. So I have this video here, which is just stock footage of a dinosaur video. As you can see, it's filmed on a green screen. So if I want to remove this green screen to show what's behind it, but keep the dinosaurs on top, all I have to do is go into Effects, look for Chroma Key over here, drag it to the video. And again, as I mentioned, any effect that you add will pop up over here. You'll see a little icon. And then here, I would select the key color. So if I double click, I could select the screen color. So I want all this green to disappear. I'll hit OK. And as you can see, it disappears. Now there's still some green around it. And that's what this fuzz slider is for. So if you play around with it, as you can see, the higher I go, the more green disappears. So there's some parameters that you could play around with over there as well. If you do use the Chroma Key, I suggest having good quality video or good quality image where you could remove the background quite easily. But it can be very useful if you're doing a video where you're talking to the camera and you want something to come on top of that as well, which actually my brother did, and I'll be showing you in the video. So once you're done with your entire video, I'm just going to shorten this so that it's 1 minute and 1 second long like it's supposed to be. So this is my video here. It's obviously not edited properly because I won't be editing the complete thing. I'll show you what the edited version looks like. But I do encourage you to play around with this because there's a lot of tools and functions and it's quite easy to use. So once you're done with your video, all you have to do is click this over here that says export video. Let's say I want to export it. I will put it to my desktop, select folder. It creates it here. That's all good. The title name, I'll just name it like my video for now. And then over here for video profile, this is where you'll be selecting if you want it HD. So I suggest doing it HD with 24 frames per second. 24 frames per second gives it a kind of cinematic quality, more so than 30 or 60 frames per second. And it kind of compresses it a little bit as well because we don't want to exceed about 125 megabytes when you submit the video. So once all that's selected, quality high, everything looks good, I press export video and it's going to export the video to the desktop. It doesn't take too long and it exports quite high quality videos. And then that's the video that you'll be uploading either to OneDrive or Google Drive or whatever and get the link from and then submit it in the form that I showed you. Or as I mentioned, once you get a confirmation email from registering in the contest, you can reply to that email and attach it there. So I'll cancel that because we don't need to do that for now. And now I'll show you the video that my brother created. So I gave him the same demonstration that I just gave you now. I gave him about, I think he took about an hour to edit the video himself, playing around with some stuff and finding some footage that he liked. And then what he came up with was quite good. So I will play that for you. All right, so this is the video that he created.
You know, while I get ready, I practice for my songs I'm lip syncing to for my show later. Just as I'm doing that right now, I started thinking about math and music together. You know, we tend to think of math and music as so far apart, but Pythagoras, yes, the guy with the triangles, actually considered music to be a branch of math. We all know that when you hit a string, it makes a sound. And what Pythagoras noticed is that when you strum two strings at the same time, you can get a really nice sound out of it if one of the strings is half the length of the other, or in a ratio of 2/3 or any other sort of simple ratio. And that is what we call a harmony. Ooh. Anyways, a mere 2,000 years later, we truly understand how sound works. Sound travels in waves, and the number of complete waves that make it to your ear per second is what we call a frequency. Where's the sound coming from? You know, if music is universal, then so is math. So, let me finish getting ready and head on to my show. Bye!
So you can see it was a very simple explanation of how music and math are actually quite related. All he did was really speak to the camera, had some fun graphics in there and edited video, and came up with this without even knowing any editing programs before. So it's quite easy to use, and all the assets he found were from those websites that I will supply you with. So,
you know,
that's
while I get ready,
there you go. Yes. So as I mentioned, all this information will be available for you on the website. So if you see one of these posters, you could scan the QR code. There's a long link for the Concordia website that this is hosted on, unfortunately, but I also provided a shorter link, the tiny URL that you see over here. So if you go to that, you'll have the complete list of all the instructions for the video competition, a link to the form, so you could register for the competition. And you'll also have a document where I'll be providing you with all the resources that I showed you here, along with quick start guides on how to use these programs. So with that being said, I'd just like to thank Fourth Space for hosting this event. I'd like to thank the Department of Mathematics and Statistics, as well as the Faculty of Arts and Science for funding this project, and Misty Waterfalls, who is the drag queen that you saw in the video earlier. So yeah, thank you very much for attending today, and I look forward to your questions. Thank you. Yeah.
If y'all have questions in here, just, you know, if you do, we invite you to use the mic. And I don't know if you already said, Christopher, to the people on Zoom, if there are people in there, if you guys have any questions or comments, just feel free to pop in. We'll see you and hear you here in the space.
Yeah, for sure. Or if you have any questions or whatever, like feel free. Yeah. I think there's a question.
I'm just reading that from the chat. Christopher, do you have eyes on the chat in front of you? Okay. So Adam, go ahead. Go ahead, Christopher.
So Adam asks, do math topics have to be hard at a university level, or could they be easy at a high school level? So we are university students here, so I suggest trying to do something more at a university level. But obviously, if it's aim towards general audience, a high school level is acceptable as well. We really want to make it aim towards a general audience. So that's the main purpose here. So yeah, that's totally fine if that's what you'd like to do. But I suggest keeping it to a university level might be better.
Christina, did you have any questions or comments, or you're just saying hello?
I'm just trying to take notes because that's interesting, you know, if there's any questions, you know, if ever students would like to have more details, it's useful because, you know, if it's not written, it's easy to forget. And it's interesting, like, I think even if there are maybe first year students, having maybe a high school subject might be more easier for them if it's first term, like, you know, that's why maybe the question was relevant, like what subjects we want to be. But I think giving them more option helps. Because if we are very restrictive, that's for sure, it gets a little more complicated. So I think giving them the choice in a way helps. So just writing notes, because in case there's anything, maybe we can add it on the website, you know, in FAQ, something like this. So I'm going to also write down because it's a detail that would be useful to have it.
Yeah, for sure. So it's the purpose of the competition is to show how mathematics and statistics is useful and everyday, and how it is relevant in our everyday lives. So definitely a high school level math concept would be useful. So why not go for it?
All right, awesome. Well, if there's nothing else from our audience at this moment, I think we're going to stop the live stream in that case and invite you to visit back this tutorial that Christopher offered up to us today. If you want to revisit it, just go to Concordia University's Fourth Space on YouTube, and it's one of the first videos that you'll see there in our playlists of videos. So we can rewatch and share with your pals. We do hope, Christopher, that you get quite a good number of submissions. We're so excited about this project. I think it's going to be really great. Thank you for the initiative as well of putting this together, this info session together, and for all the work that you did to bring this to us here via Fourth Space. So we really appreciate